Heroes get remembered, but legendary stories involving Anheuser-Busch in Major League Baseball never die. During an era where Coors Field exists in Denver, Colorado, the 1950s story involving August Gussie Busch Jr., Anheuser-Busch beer brands, and Major League Baseball almost doesn't feel real. Less than 2 months after buying the St. Louis Cardinals in 1953, August Gussie Busch Jr. announced that the Anheuser-Busch Brewery had also purchased Sportsman Park and intended to rename it Budweiser Stadium. And this was a big time, and definitely ahead of its time, marketing decision by Gussie, as Anheuser-Busch, which was founded by his grandfather Adolphus, wouldn't become the largest brewer in the United States until 1957. In fact, Budweiser wasn't even the dominant beer in Sportsman Park, as another St. Louis brewing company, Falstaff, sponsored former MLB pitcher Dizzy Dean's radio broadcast and was prominent among scoreboard advertisers. So then, why has the St. Louis Cardinals Stadium been known as Busch Stadium and not Budweiser Stadium for the last 70 plus years? Well, before the day ended, Gussie revised his Sportsman Park announcement, and the ballpark would actually be known as Busch Stadium, in memory of the founder and past presidents of Anheuser-Busch. But what happened that day has long been an object of speculation. And while Ford Frick, the MLB commissioner from 1951 to 1965, supposedly only knew of Gussie Busch's original Budweiser Stadium announcement just before it happened and made no public comment on that day, the press generally gave credit to Ford Frick for the wild day of stadium naming announcements. Why? Back in the 1950s, baseball was rapidly commercializing, and purists of America's pastime largely opposed corporate ownership. Additionally, while beer has been a quintessential part of the ballpark experience for more than a century, not every stakeholder liked that baseball and beer got cemented together permanently after the Busch family purchased the St. Louis Cardinals. It's not known if he ever spoke directly to Gussie Busch on the matter that day, but credit was most likely given due to being widely known that Ford Frick spent considerable time persuading Busch to set up a new corporate entity to govern the sports franchise, essentially acting as a buffer from the appearance of direct corporate control. And with Busch announcing the stadium would be named after the brewery's most popular product, it undermined all that hard work by Ford Frick and likely revealed the limits of his reserved temperament. But here's where you get to really learn about the temperament of the other party involved, as Gussie Busch was strong-willed and known to have a vindictive streak. Within the revised stadium naming announcement, Busch stated, realizing that Budweiser is the brand name of our product, we decided the name would not be appropriate. So you're telling me that Gussie Busch, who had been at that point involved with the family business for 3 decades and CEO for the past 7 years, didn't fully understand the strategic marketing significance of renaming Sportsman Park to Budweiser Stadium? Regardless, the lore of that day has been passed down for generations, as the feud with MLB Commissioner Ford Frick triggered ideation for the creation of Busch Lager, which officially launched 2 years later in 1955. And though it seems neither the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum nor Anheuser-Busch claim to have any documentation confirming or denying the accuracy of this legendary story, there's no denying that Gussie Busch, who had never sat through an entire 9-inning game, cared only how baseball could better sell beer, effectively changing sports marketing forever. Today, beer is deeply integrated into the Major League Baseball experience, with Budweiser serving as the sport's longest standing sponsor, becoming the official beer of MLB dating back to 1980. But here's a few fun beer and baseball statistics before I end this content piece. Firstly, the Chicago White Sox is cited as the fan base with the highest average number of drinks per game. Oddly enough, drinking data from last year showed that fans of the St. Louis Cardinals have some of the lowest alcohol consumption rates in the league. Next, Colorado Rockies, which, as I mentioned earlier, play at Coors Field, had the lowest average price of a beer at just over $3. Then the memorable 1982 World Series became known as the Anheuser-Busch versus Miller Brewing Sud Series, as the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Milwaukee Brewers in 7 games. Moreover, until changing its name in 2021, the current Milwaukee Brewers ballpark was known as Miller Park for the first 20 years of its existence. And lastly, some relevant lore associated with my Northeast Ohioan roots. Look up 10-cent beer night on Google or whatever AI machine you prefer for some baseball and beer craziness. But I hope you enjoyed the first principles thinking that went into my latest YouTube video. If you did, can you do me a favor by hitting that like button? That quick and free action helps YouTube know my content is worth spreading to more people. Also, we're getting really close to reaching my next subscriber goal, and it would be great if you join me on this journey. But to do that, we need to fix the fact that slightly more than 3/4 of you that are watching this video right now are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, and that hurts my feelings. Regardless, I want to thank you for giving me some of your attention and time, and I'll see you on the next one.